If you ever meet Thomas the Tank Engine on his branch line, you may also meet his two faithful coaches, Annie and Clarabel. Annie can only take passengers, but Clarabel can take passengers and most importantly their luggage and the guard. One evening it was raining, and Thomas was stuck at Toirex station on his branch line due to a landslide near the top station and also on the main line. He and his coaches were distracted by the rain and they couldn't get to sleep. Then Annie had an idea to pass the time. "Thomas, how about a story?" she asked. "I'm sorry, Annie. I told so many stories about my adventures that I have to wait until one of those days come to mind." "What about we tell you one, Thomas?" said Clarabel. "About what?" asked Thomas. "About our time before we became your coaches," they said. "Ooh, please tell me." And so this is the story about Annie and Clarabel's life on the North Western Railway before being Thomas's permanent coaches. Many years ago, Annie and Clarabel were just ordinary coaches used on local trains along the main line. However, in their early days, they're not their usual wise selves. They were stubborn and rude. They were highly strung as well, thinking they were first-class coaches and think that second and third-class passengers are a disgrace to their image. The engines and neither does the other coaches like them at all. One day, Henry was shunting some coaches ready for his train. Annie wasn't pleased when she saw the other coaches coming towards her. "Why can't I be at the front? I'm important. I carry the worthy, not second or third class passengers." "Not everything's about you. You're just like every other coach. You carry passengers of any class." Annie felt insulted and Clarabel can feel sympathy for her. They came separately to the island of Sodor and grew a close friendship thanks to their young personality. "Never mind him, Annie. We'll show that big green log not to insult any of us," whispered Clarabel as they backed down towards the station. As Henry was making his way towards Napville, Annie shouted, "Woo! I have a hot box!" Henry's driver stopped the train and carefully looked over her bearings. "Probably you're feeling the warm sun on your wheels." "Well, carry on," said the driver. Then as they picked up passengers at Wellsworth, Clarabel's brakes came on, accidentally on purpose. Henry struggled out of the station until he stopped barely beyond the station platform. Henry tried again, and as Clarabel released her brakes, Henry gave the train a nasty jolt. "Be careful, Henry. Don't bump your passengers." "Yes, we're not trucks, you know." And they both laughed quietly. Glad they aren't mine. When they reached the junction, they shouted, "First class passengers only." This made the passengers cross and went to complain to the guard and the station master. And this made Henry Layton cross as well. "You two, I've already told you, you carry passengers of every class." "Huh, well, we'll not carry second or third class passengers, is that so, Clarabel?" "Oh, definitely. If we carry passengers of every class, we prefer first class." The guard had had enough. He got out of Clarabel and opened their doors. "Guard?" moaned the two coaches. "I don't care what class you prefer, but this is a railway, and we must keep it moving." The two coaches grumbled and complained as they pulled into Knapford. All the passengers were crossed by the amount of delay they faced, and there's one passenger that the two coaches didn't expect was the fat director. I know it's you that's been up to mischief. You've caused confusion and delay. As your punishment, you will be staying in the siding until you learn to behave and think of others." When they had returned to Vicarstown, they were shunted into a siding. None of the other coaches talked to them, and they began to feel quite lonely. They stayed there for days and days. Then a couple of months later, they saw an engine coming towards them. He was a green saddle tank engine. Who are you?" asked Annie. "I didn't have a name at first back in England, but your fat director called me Percy to help around the yard when an engine called Thomas went to run a branch line, which you're going to help him on." The two coaches were shocked by the news. "A second chance?" Clarabel gasped. "Indeed," said a familiar voice. It was the fat director. "I've been hearing from the other engines for a few years about how you feel bad for being selfish. I can see now that you are, and you will be helping out on Thomas's branch line." A few weeks later, Annie and Clarabel were refurbished and polished as good as new, and Thomas arrived at the big station to pick them up. "Thomas, here are your own coaches for your own branch line. You are their responsibility, and vice versa." "I've known about your trickery 2 years ago, but I heard you learned your lesson." "We did," said Annie. "We've learned not to be selfish and that everything doesn't go our way." "That's good," said Thomas, and they made their way towards their branch line. "So, you two weren't as wise nor nice then," chuckled Thomas. "Well, you weren't as well, Thomas. After all, we were young." "That's true, but it's good that you're not selfish anymore." "Agreed." And the three drift themselves to sleep.